After my accident, Ethan Grant locked up his race car, dyed his hair black, and quit smoking. From the untamed Ethan Grant, the heir, to the steady and considerate Goot, he is dedicated to me and takes care of me. Everyone said he loved me to the bone. Until at our wedding venue, a girl rushed out slut-shaming me. Don't think I don't know. You were long gone from your innocence when you were kidnapped. How can you still have the face to marry? If you are unlucky, why do you have the right to morally kidnap a good man? That girl is the little assistant Ethan Grant fired in front of me. The wedding of the Lin and Gu families was already in the limelight, and all the prominent people in the city came, as well as many of the media. The scene was in an uproar when she made this mess. Ethan Grant, who was beside him, had a chill. Who let her in? Why don't you bring her down? He turned back to hold my shoulder, and under the spotlight, there was a hidden anxiety in his deep pupils. Chio, don't listen to her nonsense. Let's get on with it. I'll be with you to face the other things after the wedding, okay? It's too late. The situation was out of control. Under the stage, the flashbulbs were flashing wildly, and the girl was still trying her best to break free from the security guard's grip. Emily Lin, you don't deserve to wear this ring. People were talking to each other. I didn't believe the Lin family when they said Emily Lin was only knocked off her leg by a kidnapper and was not defiled. That's right, she was kidnapped by a male kidnapper for a day and a night, and she said she was still innocent. How can that be? If the Lin and Gu families hadn't suppressed the news, how could it have been hidden until today? Ethan Grant is so devoted to Emily Lin, but secretly he dislikes her, of course. What man wouldn't feel bad about something like this? Gee, I'm afraid we can't go through with this. Marriage.ai, really poor. Oh, the wedding was revealed, such a scandal. Countless astonished, probing, prying, excited, sympathetic eyes gathered on me from all directions. Whispering almost swallowed me up. Every word was thrust at me like a poison blade. Mr. Grant Sr. on the main seat started to smile and pacify the guests, but now he finally couldn't hold it together and fainted with a thud. The wedding was interrupted by a chorus of screams. The nightmare of 4 years ago haunted us again like a ghost. Ethan Grant and his life trajectory was completely changed after that. Ethan Grant and I were childhood sweethearts. The young Ethan Grant, with his good family background and good skin, was young and wild, and was surrounded by people, dominating the racing world on the racetrack. Anyone would think that we are not the same people, but he only in front of me, it became a big obedient wolf dog. He can't be quiet like that. Only in my dance studio will he sit in a regular manner, through a layer of glass, watching me practicing dance intently. His eyes were full of admiration and intoxication. Sometimes a member of his team wanted to come to him and said with a smile on the other end of the phone that he wanted to meet his sister-in-law. He unceremoniously scolded the person away. Get lost. My family Chio is the purest little girl in the whole world. You don't want to scare her. The first time he dyed red hair and appeared in front of me, I only showed a little expression of unfamiliar hesitation. And he panicked. A 1'9" man squatted in front of me and insisted that I touch him. He was still him. Chio, don't look at me with such rusty eyes. If you don't like it, I'll go dye it back right away, okay? The fiery red hair set off his fairer and fairer skin, and the ingratiating smile on his face was extra bright. Every time he won a competition, when the reporters crowded up, he would shout out my name to the camera, his smile dazzling and flamboyant. Emily Lin, this trophy is dedicated to you. Hating to let the world know of his favoritism, in the end, my parents were relieved to have him. Although Zhuan is wild, he is uniquely kind to our Chio. Mr. Grant Sr. joked, we have to marry Chio to our family. Only Chio can control him. In everyone's eyes, we had a great future ahead of us, but it was cut short by the accident. 4 years ago, I was kidnapped for a day and a night. When I was rescued, my pure white dance dress was dirty and stained with blood. Somehow, that scene was surreptitiously filmed and the pictures got out. People are like sharks smelling blood in the water when it comes to this kind of thing. Excited nerves are stimulated. For a while, the gossip went crazy. Various groups were circulating that photo, and others claimed there was a video. I've seen the video. The woman screamed so badly I couldn't bear to watch it. Worthy of being an award-winning dancer. Her body is so soft, she can do any position. That body, that face. The death penalty is not a bad deal. Really? I don't believe it unless you send it to me. I am looking for resources. Thanks for sharing. Bless your soul. Bless your soul. Bless your soul. The murderer was very emotional when he held me hostage and was killed on the spot. The kidnapping and assault was ultimately characterized as a random assault by a psychopath. No one could say exactly what happened when I was kidnapped. In the end. It was only after the Gu and Lin families found familiar media outlets and sealed the news tightly through multiple channels that the news was suppressed. When Ethan Grant arrived, I had just finished a surgery. I've never seen him so distraught. He knelt beside my bed. The always spirited man bent over, his eyes red, hot tears dripping onto the back of my hand. Autumn. It is all my fault. It is all my fault. It is me who did not protect you. After that, he dyed his hair black, quit smoking, locked up his race car, put on a suit, and cut himself off from the past circle, completely changed, from the untamed Ethan Grant, the heir, to the steady and considerate Mr. Good, low-key and introverted, with people. Over the past 4 years, Ethan Grant has taken great care of me, almost to the point of sickness. He installed the best security system. Whenever I go out, no matter how busy the company is, he makes sure to accompany me personally. Whenever I was going to an occasion, he would scrutinize the itinerary and rule out any potential dangers. It was as if I would be blown apart by the wind and broken by the rain if I wasn't careful. Everyone said he was off his rocker for me and loved me to the bone. Mom and Dad also exclaimed that it was a good thing Ethan Grant took good care of me and never left me. And now, with this mess at the wedding, all the pretend everything was fine was shattered. I was once again thrust into the limelight. After resuscitation, Mr. Grant Sr.'s condition finally stabilized, and as soon as he woke up, he called Ethan Grant and did call off the engagement. Must call off the engagement. My old man is not an old-fashioned person. When Chio first met with the incident, the news could still be suppressed, and I could turn a blind eye to it. Now that it's public knowledge, if you still want to marry her, you'll be dishonoring the Gu family. Ethan Grant immediately interrupted him. It's not Kyuki's fault. I can't regret the marriage slap. A slap sounded immediately. Mr. Grant Sr. had only one grandson. Ethan Grant had lost his parents at a young age, and Mr. Grant Sr. loved him as much as his eyes. This was probably the first time that Ethan Grant had been beaten. After a few seconds of silence in the hospital room, Ethan Grant remained stubborn and said, "Grandpa, I won't call off the engagement even if I die." All of this was relayed to me by my best friend Chloe. When the scene first became chaotic, my mom was in a hurry to bring me home to protect me, confiscating my cell phone and computer, fearing that any unpleasant words would reach my ears. I was a bit helpless, even though I am now the head of a branch office and am called Director Lin. In my mom's eyes, I will always be the head of the branch office. But in my mom's eyes, I will always be that little girl who needs protection. I had to ask Chloe to meet me under the pretext of delivering the documents, so that I could have a chance to explore the situation. Chloe looked at me carefully. Chio, are you okay? Chloe has said before that I'm too calm, always at peace, and somewhat inscrutable in her opinion. In the eyes of people who are not familiar with me, it will also feel a little faked. I sign the last document and shake my head. I am fine. When you perform on stage, you need to be full of emotion. But in life, emotions are the most useless thing of all. They only interfere with thinking. Mr. Grant Sr.'s old-fashioned thinking can't be changed overnight, so there's no need to argue unnecessarily. That I was thinking of something else. Chloe, there's something I'd like to verify. I am not at liberty to show my face right now. Help me out, will you? I asked Chloe to help me investigate the girl who made a scene at the wedding. I remembered that I had met her 2 years ago. I vaguely remembered her name was Luna, and she was Ethan Grant's assistant at the time because I was fired. The day I was able to stand on my legs, Ethan Grant practically cried tears of joy and celebrated by giving bonuses to the entire company. A lot of people came over to congratulate me and wish me well, and there was a lot of joy in the company. Luna also came over. First, she complimented me with a smile on her face. "Wow, you're Emily Lin. I've seen your dancing competitions before. You're so good." Then, she asked in a seemingly innocent manner, "But you'll never be able to dance again, will you?" My smile froze on my face, and I subconsciously clenched my palms. If she hadn't noticed my blush. She followed up with another question. Sister Lynn, don't you think that you're dragging you down a bit right now? Without waiting for me to react, Ethan Grant stepped in front of me and scolded her sternly. Shut up if you can't talk. Go to the personnel office and leave. You're fired. Luna, who also had a temper, glared at me, turned around and ran away. That time, I was still a bit puzzled. Assistant to the president is a position that requires a great deal of discernment. So how could such a little girl, with no sense of propriety, be appointed? But Ethan Grant's action was so decisive that I didn't think much about it and assumed that was the end of the matter. But at the wedding, the position where Luna stood up was clearly the area belonging to the Goof family executives at the wedding banquet. The Goof family has the Goof family's considerations, and I have mine. Until things are clarified, I will not muddle through and marry Ethan Grant in order to seek refuge. Chloe mobilized a lot of resources and couldn't find Luna. It's not just that she wasn't found. With all the commotion at the wedding, at this point my parents, the hotel, the media, the police, a lot of people were looking for Luna, but it's like she disappeared out of thin air, no news at all. Even the hotel's surveillance has inexplicably disappeared. Chloe took a deep breath and sat down in front of me with a very serious look. Chio, I spent a lot of effort to inquire about some news. But Autumn, you have to be prepared. Chloe took out an old photo. It was a race car driver holding a helmet. The moment I saw that face, my heart suddenly tightened. That person was the one who kidnapped me in the first place. Chloe showed me another group photo, and this one. This is a group photo of Ethan Grant's motorcade from 5 years ago. She pointed to a nondescript figure in the corner. Luna is right here. That age. Luna was still wearing a ponytail and looked a bit young and rustic. Dressed in the overalls of a car repair store, looking at Ethan Grant in the center of the crowd from the corner, the admiration in her eyes was obvious to anyone. Luna was originally an odd-job girl in Ethan Grant's fleet. And everyone in the fleet knew that she was crazy about Ethan Grant, and they all joked that she was his obsessed fan, she said. But Ethan Grant only had eyes for you, so no one took it seriously. 4 years ago, one of the other team's drivers, the one who kidnapped you, called Ethan Grant a bad name. It's not unusual for rivals to yell at each other. Ethan Grant didn't even take it seriously, but Luna went up to him and slapped him in the face. He was so angry, he wanted to kill her hand. Ethan Grant, in order to give Luna a chance, asked for a match and pushed him hard during the match, deliberately causing a car accident. This guy hated Ethan Grant and couldn't do anything about it, so he kidnapped you. Chloe's voice rose in anger as she spoke. And no wonder Ethan Grant feels so guilty. He's the one who got you into this mess. And after all this, he's still hiding Luna around. What does he really mean? The truth was revealed. And no wonder he felt so guilty to that extent. No wonder he disbanded his beloved fleet of cars so quickly and cut ties with his past friends. I had to take a few deep breaths to push down the choking pain in my heart. In the past, I'd been so drunk on my dancing, either rehearsing or competing in competitions, that I'd never gotten into Ethan Grant's clique.So. It wasn't until today that I realized why unearned disaster, my years of tormenting pain, my severed path to dance, was only because Ethan Grant had been Luna's hero. I suddenly remembered the Ethan Grant of my youth, riding a motorcycle with an open smile, handing me a pink helmet just for me and saying he would show me the sunset. Back then he loved the thrill of the hustle and bustle. I was always cautious in assessing the probability of risk and refused to participate easily. Ethan Grant always laughed at my cowardice, and I would always tell him that it wasn't cowardice. It was just that the level of enjoyment I got from racing wasn't worth the risk. In the end, Ethan Grant could only promise me, helplessly and dotingly, "Don't worry, Autumn. Don't worry, Chio. As long as I have a breath in me, I won't let you hurt a single hair." I can still see his glowing face in front of me. A result. In the end, the biggest hurt I've ever suffered in my life was due to him. Probably because my face was too ugly. Chloe held my hand and cried, "Chio, what should we do now?" I didn't have time to answer. Ethan Grant's caller rang at the right time. I paused and picked up the phone. On the other end of the line, Ethan Grant seemed to have just finished working. His voice was tired and gentle. Chio, Grandpa has promised not to cancel the engagement. I was afraid that you would be upset, so I told you at the first opportunity. Just stay at home for the next few days. I'll fix everything. Don't worry, okay? I pretended to be relaxed and gave a Ethan Grant asked me about my situation again, and explained a few things like don't go out and have a good rest before hanging up the phone. I became more and more calm as I talked to him sentence by sentence. By the time the 3-minute call ended, I had gathered all my emotions. Chloe's worried expression became a little surprised. Chio, are you alright? You just went as white as paper. You scared me to death. Yeah, I'm fine. It's no use crying over milk that's already spilled, so why not think about what to do next? When I was told that I would never be able to dance again, I was really sad for a long time. But as soon as I was able to get into a wheelchair, I started working at the company every day, learning and trying to take over some small projects at the same time, moving forward. The only way to keep from being dragged into the abyss is to move forward. I end my case. Ethan Grant is out, but our two families have worked together too much, and our interests are too deeply entangled. I still need to get solid evidence on Ethan Grant's cheating. I asked Chloe. There any news about Luna's whereabouts? No, Chloe sounded distressed. I don't know why. That Luna just evaporated. Don't know where to hide. Even the hotel's surveillance has been covered. I wasn't surprised. If she can do that. She's not hiding, she's being hidden, and the only person who could do that would be Ethan Grant. What then? I thought about it and decided to wait. The fact that Luna would jump out at a wedding means that she doesn't want to hide. And she's bound to find a way to pop up again. I didn't have to wait long. The next day, someone on the internet coincidentally picked up Luna's account. She's actually a not-so-small relationship blogger. Her account documented her unabashed love affair from very early on. She took one stunning glance at Ethan Grant on the racetrack and joined his team. Every time Ethan Grant raced, she was there to yell and cheer, and every time he won an award, she was on the team excited to celebrate with everyone. Then later, Luna seemed to be successful in her pursuit of love. On those days when I thought Ethan Grant was traveling on business, he was rock climbing, scuba diving, and skydiving with Luna, playing all kinds of exciting sports under the blue sky and blue sea. Unlike with me, Ethan Grant is still the same free-spirited teenager he used to be under Luna's lens. I can feel his emotions in his light fingertips and loose tone of voice, effortless and happy, free-spirited. It's as if all the soul he's repressed in front of me can be released with Luna. The latest video posted shows Luna with tears in her eyes, looking determined and a lone voice, with the caption, "You have to be brave for yourself once in a lifetime." Decided to rob the wedding. I sent the account and address of a coffee shop and indicated who I was. It wasn't long before Luna did show up. Even though her situation wasn't good right now, Luna smiled when she saw me, revealing a somewhat playful tiger tooth. "Sister Lynn, hello again. How's the wedding gift for you?" Surprised, the little girl's triumphant gesture was that obvious. Also, she ruined my wedding, pushed me into the vortex of public opinion, paid no price, and was protected by Ethan Grant. She did win. Big, she sits down gracefully in front of me, angling her head slightly in pity. "I am sure you came to me wanting to know something, so ask whatever you want." I asked her with little expression, getting right to the point. "Was Ethan Grant with you the day I was kidnapped 4 years ago?" I realized this when I watched Luna's video. The day of my accident, she left the country without warning. And it was a full year before she returned after the storm had calmed down. It was rushed, like an incriminating piece of evidence that had been hidden away. A slow smile lifted on Luna's face. "You guessed it, but dare I say it, dare you listen?" My demeanor didn't change, I just unconsciously clenched the cup in my hand. "You say it." Perhaps my appearance was too deceptive. Or perhaps I was too soft from what she had heard from Ethan Grant. Luna wasn't the least bit wary of me. She couldn't wait to show me the past and the truth. Leaving the coffee shop, I drove home very, very slowly. All the way, I kept the windows open, letting the cold night air blow on my face to calm and clear my head a little more. On the recorder was Luna's slightly smug tone. "Ethan Grant protected me and stood up for me. No one has ever been that nice to me since I was a kid." You have no idea how happy I am and how much I love him. Luna smiled a sweet smile as she said this. So that day, I bought him a drink and gave myself to him as a result of the misadventure. It even let us avoid that psychopath and let you be the scapegoat, haha. Do you think it's funny? By the way, sister, I was still a virgin when I gave myself to him. Luna ended up accusing me with hatred. What about you? You're just a little hurt. Why should you morally kidnap him for the rest of your life? You are not from the same world as him. Can a weak and good girl like you accompany him to be crazy and wild? All he gets from being with you is bondage. Stepping on the gas, my knees hurt. I've always been a person who doesn't like to look back. My psychiatrist also told me not to remember the nightmarish day. For a long time after the accident, I was doing my best to cooperate with the treatment, expecting to recover as before and get back on the stage. But today, the details are becoming clearer in my mind. I remember being placed dead center over my mouth and nose and falling into a coma within seconds. I remember being in a daze as the killer kept dialing the phone, crying and laughing from darkness to dawn, becoming more and more insane. I remember that as the sirens got closer, the killer had a complete emotional breakdown, dropped his cell phone, picked up a steel pipe and smashed it hard into my knee. That day, I had a date with Ethan Grant to go to the movies. He missed the appointment. He was enjoying Luna's adoration, sinking into the excitement of her giving herself to him, and missing the possibility of my eventual salvation. When I got home, I saw lights in the distance and a large group of people hurrying to get into their cars and down the stairs as if they were looking for something. When Ethan Grant saw me in the crowd, his eyes lit up and he ran towards me with great strides, embracing me in his arms. Cho-cho. It's good that you are okay. It's good that you are okay. Promise me. Don't let me not be able to find you in the future, okay? I can feel his voice trembling over the years. Ethan Grant's temperament has become more and more stable. His joy and anger do not show as color, and there are rarely times when he loses his temper like this. Anyone who looked at him would have to say a word of deep affection. But after my accident, the way he rushed over and knelt in front of my bed was just as full of tension and concern as it is now. The funny thing is, according to the time Luna said, at that moment, Ethan Grant had probably just gotten out of her bed. I calmly pushed Ethan Grant away from me and looked at the familiar yet unfamiliar face and just felt sick. Noticing my perversity, Ethan Grant was a little disturbed, his dark eyebrows furrowed. What's wrong with Chio? I hooked my lips mockingly and took 2 steps back, distancing myself from him. Ethan Grant, where were you the day of my accident 4 years ago? After a brief moment of shock, the momentary panic in Ethan Grant's eyes was unmistakable. I've always been a mild-mannered person, and that day was probably the first time in years that I spoke to Ethan Grant in what I would call a quarrelsome tone. How can you have the nerve to propose to me after what you've done? He paled. It was just a futile attempt to explain to me that Head been given a drink. That Head regretted it when Head sobered up, and that Head sent Luna out of the country at the first opportunity. I was aggressive, and after that, were you also drunk when you picked her up a year after you sent her out of the country? I'm sorry, Autumn. It's my fault. Ethan Grant looked pained, and his fingers holding my shoulders tightened as if he finally couldn't hold back. It's because I never forget. He closed his eyes and finally said what he meant. I've never forgotten the way you were hurt. The way you struggled to do rehab, the way I felt so guilty I wanted to kill myself every minute, every second I was with you. Every time I think about it, I hate why I can't turn back time, why I didn't die on the racetrack. Why didn't he just run me over? Why did he have to hurt you? Ethan Grant explained to me with difficulty. Chio, you believe me? I really was just in too much pain, looking for Luna to come back just to get back at her. Never touched her once more, I remembered Luna's words and spoke slowly. It's just, she's the only one who knows your secret and still accompanies you in your madness and wildness. And in her place, you can finally relax and take a breath. I found that a little unbelievable. I am the one with the broken leg, in the one with the shattered dreams, and you're in so much pain that you need to cheat on me to release the pressure. Ethan Grant, you're too fragile. Ethan Grant ignored my words, his dark eyes staring at me in dogged supplication. Chio, I'll get rid of Luna and we'll have a bigger wedding. Just forgive me this time, okay? I looked at him coldly. You should know that it's impossible. The engagement is null and void. I will make you pay back the debt you and Luna. Oh, I didn't want to dwell on this pointlessly and turned around to leave. The moment we passed each other, Ethan Grant suddenly gripped my wrist, ignoring my struggle, and forcibly picked me up in a horizontal hug. The mask of gentleness was torn off at this moment. The brashness between his eyebrows was like he had transformed back into the aggressive teenage driver on the racetrack. This moment, I sadly realized that Ethan Grant was never really right for me. It's just that he showed up too. Early at an age when I didn't even know what love was, Ethan Grant was right there by my side, making me cry, making me laugh, not hiding his passionate love for me, and giving me everything he had. It was hard for me to objectively analyze whether he would be a good match for me. He carried me into the bedroom and placed me on the bed, smiling with a slightly sickly smile. Chio, don't you understand? You can only marry me now. The rumors are bad for you right now. It's all over the internet. There are all kinds of nasty things being said. Announcing call off the engagement at this time won't do you any good, and it won't do the Lin family any good either. I knew what he meant. After what Luna did. If we call off the engagement at this time, people will decide that I'm the one who's been abandoned. They'll say, look, her fiancé doesn't even want her anymore. She must have been violated. When it comes down to it, the best solution is to get married. Just like those men who cheated on their wives, no matter how big the fuss, once his wife stood firmly by his side, outsiders couldn't say much. I looked at him quietly. You threatened me. Ethan Grant didn't answer. He just helped me pull my long hair behind my ear. And his tone was a little gentler again. Chio, do as you're told. You're angry. You can beat me up later, scold me, tell me to go to hell, get back at me any way you want. But our wedding, it will definitely go ahead. Now, only I can help you. A listed company, public opinion, is related to the stock price. I can't just use my personal feelings to make decisions. I closed my eyes. You go first. I want to discuss with Mom and Dad alone. I told Mom and Dad everything. Mom had tears in her eyes and wanted to call Ethan Grant right then and there to scold him. I comforted her for a while before she calmed down. Dad was also shaking with anger. This Ethan Grant, I really misjudged him. However, after the initial excitement subsided, they fell into a long silence. After a long time, they exchanged a worried look. Mom said grimly, Chio, what Sichuan said is also true. Now call off the engagement. How can you get a foothold in the future? I was silent for a long time and turned my head to ask Dad. Dad, do you think so too? Dad sighed. Right now, there is really no other way. Let's do it this way. You guys tie the knot first, and then make a statement to the public together, saying that it was the woman's wishful thinking that drove her crazy at your wedding. And I believe that Ethan Grant will also cooperate. After a few years, when everyone gradually forgets about it, you can then divorce without a word. And there will be no repercussions. The room was heavy, as if the end had come. Everyone told me there was only one way out. To play deaf and dumb and marry Ethan Grant. Suddenly, I felt a little ridiculous. Mom, Dad, I'm only telling you this because we're in business together. And I want to make preparations in advance to minimize the impact on the company. As for the rest, you guys don't have to worry. I decided to respond live. I made this decision because I spent a few hours looking at the trend of public opinion online. I finally came to the conclusion that I was kinda hated. As you can see from the videos Luna made, she was bold and outspoken and very popular. Later on, when she made a big fuss about the wedding, although some people scolded her, others thought she was daring and hateful and was a good match for the real Ethan Grant. And in the few photos I have circulated on the internet, wearing a pure white tutu, I look slim and thin, quiet and well-behaved, as if I were a little white flower. Luna's old fans believe that Ethan Grant will marry me because I morally abducted him with the injuries I had received, and only then did Ethan Grant, who is responsible, have to bear the pain of giving up Luna. My heart goes out to my sister. Emily Lin is really disgusting. She looks so pathetic. She knows how to morally kidnap. Only a woman can tell what she's like at a glance. Typical delicate porcelain doll. Fake sweetness. But it can't be helped. Men eat this. I am so angry. It's always the manipulative witch who gets her way in the end. I don't blame the netizens for misunderstanding. I don't like to expose my private life to the public eye, and there's little evidence of Ethan Grant and I together on the internet. Luna's account, on the other hand, looked like she was in a relationship with Ethan Grant, and it looked like they were lovers. Chloe was furious. How can these people be like this, talking nonsense without knowing anything? Chloe, you and Ethan Grant have photos and video records from childhood to adulthood. Send them out as well, and give them a good smack in the face. I handed her a glass of water to slow her down, crying and laughing. Don't do it. It makes it look like two women are robbing Ethan Grant. It's disgusting. What's there to want from someone who needs to be robbed? Ethan Grant isn't worth caring about. What really made me care, what made me decide to respond, was actually the voices on the other side. The discussion about whether or not I had been violated. I don't know why, but this kind of issue always has heat. Underneath a couple of previous news stories about young girls being killed, there was always speculation as well. Were they assaulted before they were killed? What kind of assault would it have been? Even if the family declared that they hadn't, or said that the deceased had passed away and hoped that she would rest in peace, asking netizens not to be overly concerned, some people still can't help but speculate secretly, and not only am I alive, but I also have a poor personality image, being discussed even more recklessly. The statement of the Lynn family that the kidnapper was disabled in a racing accident and could not violate Emily Lynn is hilarious. Anything can be made up. She must have been violated. That's why she had to catch Ethan Grant. Who else would want her? If you don't want the dowry, it's not unacceptable to me. What are you dreaming about upstairs? Is it your turn? Oh, come on. Everyone knows about her shit now. She's lucky to get married. How can she even pick? You people are too much. She's poor too, okay? AI, a girl. How can she meet people in the future? And so on and so forth. Some people gloat. Some people talk dirty. Some people sympathize, but no matter what kind, I don't want to see. Only people who don't trust themselves want the sympathy of others. I just wanted to deal with it head on. I didn't consult with anyone and went straight to the live broadcast. After realizing that the anchor was me, the live broadcast room immediately filled up. I briefly explained the actual situation in which I was kidnapped. The pop-ups were questioning, what evidence do you have to prove your innocence? At least a certificate from the hospital, right? Proof of what? People have been in normal relationships for the past few years, and they must have had sex. What can we find out? Why don't we ask Ethan Grant to come out and talk about it? For the sake of image. Of course he will defend his fiancée. What does his words mean? As expected, there is no end to self-incrimination. It's useless for the parties involved to show up and say, I've stated the facts. As for what you will think of me, I don't care. The pop-ups taunted again. Pretend. Just pretend. Why are you explaining on air if you don't care? Why don't you just hide behind Ethan Grant? I'm sure my defense is broken, but I'm still holding on. I scanned through the comments and got to the point. I opened this broadcast today to show my attitude. After a pause, I slowly spoke. I'd rather be violated than have my leg broken. These words fell like a nuclear bomb. After a short silence, pop-ups frantically filled the entire screen. What is she saying? Emily Lynn said she'd rather be violated. Shit. That's too powerful. I'm going to shake people. Is anyone recording this? Is someone recording this? I can't believe it. The cell phones kept screaming. From mom and dad. From Ethan Grant. From friends. Chloe came rushing in from outside, her eyes desperate as she mouthed to me, Chloe, you're crazy. I calmly watched the pop-ups fly. The specifics of the situation call for a specific response, and I did say it in an extreme way. But words need to be spoken if they want to be heard. Stereotypes need to be deafening if they want to be broken. As for the scale and details, after being taken seriously, they will naturally be discussed further. I ignored the screen full of screams and continued in a flat tone. Virgin membrane rupture. A minimally invasive injury that produces brief tertiary pain and generally requires no treatment. A comminuted fracture of both knees, grade 10 pain, is enough to make a person pass right out from the pain, along with 3 major surgeries over a 2-year period for plates driven into the leg bones, repeated post-operative rejection, countless difficult acupuncture rehabs, and the agony of the uncertainty of the road ahead. ignoring the so-called meaning of chastity and purity artificially assigned to the virgin membrane. If you were to choose, which kind of harm would you choose to accept? 3 years ago, when I first woke up, I knew there was a storm of gossip out there centered on my chastity. Then the doctors had told me that there was no way I could ever dance again. I lay on the hospital bed, pinching my weak legs hard, staring straight up at the ceiling, tears falling like rain. Since I was a child, my life had been steadily moving forward under my control. That was the first time I felt all-consuming. I wondered, if only what they said was true. If only I had really only been violated and hadn't broken my leg in 2 days. I was supposed to go to the Varna International Ballet competition. That's the highest hall of all dancers' dreams. I've put countless hours and sweat into it. For hundreds of days and nights, I repeated jumps and spins over and over again in front of the mirror, just to engrave the most perfect movements into my muscle memory. I end the comprehensive evaluation before the competition. I was the most favored candidate for the championship. I even had my costume ready to go, just hanging there in the special closet light, glistening, but I never got to wear it again. One step away, I was shut out of the hall of my dreams forever. I didn't understand what made them think that I would give a shit about my innocence compared to my dreams and my health. Being violated is more of a mental humiliation. I had every confidence that my will was strong enough to heal such a trauma, but with my leg literally broken, I can't will my bones to heal, to get up and get back on stage. What's more, it's not up to others to say whether I'm innocent or not. I hope everyone can understand that in the kidnapping incident, I am not anyone's fiancé, and I don't need to give an account to anyone. I only have one identity, that is the victim, even if I am really violated. I may be afraid, I may regret it, and it may even leave a shadow, but only there won't be the slightest bit of shame. It's you who are boring and shameless, stepping on the victim's wounds for fun. I am not the one who's not innocent. It's you guys. The pop-up screen was in shock. I'll be damned. This doesn't sound like the green tea Luna said. This sister is too brave. Looks like a doll, talks like a machine, the contrast. Actually, I've always wanted to say what she said, but I didn't dare to say it openly for fear of being scolded. Yes, it's bad enough to be a victim, but you still have to be criticized. Why should you? Every time I read a novel, the heroine is finished when she is violated. Either she feels dirty and breaks up with the hero, or she simply commits suicide. This kind of concept should be changed. Emily Lynn is right. Think about it. If there is no other violence, it's just a minor trauma, microdrama. No offense, just a little offensive. These kinds of sobering voices have actually always been there. It's just that there are so many people watching that mere words are quickly drowned out. After I took the initiative to take a stand as the person in question, they were greatly encouraged and gradually took over some of the pop-ups, but there were still some people who were poked at a certain sensitive nerve and cursed even more vigorously, saying that I had no shame. It's okay. This is just the beginning. I clicked on an image with a logo. On the top was a solemn design of a scale with many branches and leaves, like a shelter from the wind and rain. This logo, I think some people will recognize it. The screen popped up and someone did recognize it. Greensprout Legal Aid. I know. It's a totally free organization that specializes in helping with disability claims. My dad's arm was crushed by machinery at the factory. The owner refused to pay and threatened us, saying the arm was jammed against the equipment. They were the ones who reached out and helped us win the case. Thanks. This wouldn't have anything to do with Emily Lynn, would it? That's right, I set up this organization. I didn't take over the company for so many years for nothing, and I already have quite a huge amount of resources and connections available in my hands. When I was in treatment, I saw some people who were injured by workers and could not get reasonable compensation. I promote a positive image for the company at the right time. Lynn's Group is a socially responsible company, and at my suggestion, we established a public assistance team to make a small contribution. The pop-up screen was silent for an instant. Some of the people who had just been cursing were suddenly a little embarrassed. This really can't be sprayed. Even if it's a show, it can't be sprayed. He's been quietly doing public service for a few years, and you're saying it's a show. Whether it's a show or not, public service should be supported. Who knows? I feel guilty for watching the fun. I've never cursed a single word, but I've defeated 99% of the people in the live broadcast room. Only a few people are still questioning my showmanship. They were all Luna's hardcore fans. And their preconceptions were so deep that they couldn't accept that their high CP had collapsed and that they couldn't make any big waves, I announced to the camera. After this incident, I realized there's another area where people have a hard time defending their rights, so I've decided that Green Sprout is adding legal aid for cyber violence. Let's practice on me this time. The rumor mongers and the cyber violence trolls have all been documented in the past few days. Our team of lawyers are very professional and efficient, with enough time and energy to not miss a single defendant. I am sure you'll be receiving letters from your lawyers soon. I smiled at the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, please check your receipts. So far, reason and sticks go together. The only negative comments left in the live broadcast room completely disappeared. Public opinion was successfully turned around after the live broadcast ended. Those rumor-mongering and abusive ones seemed to have disappeared cleanly overnight. I received some private messages apologizing, saying that they had deleted all the bad remarks, hoping that I wouldn't take it personally. There were also some private messages that asked me for advice or confided in me. I cried when I watched your live broadcast. I was violated. My parents are afraid of affecting my reputation. Do not allow me to voice. And now look at that animal, married wife and children. Life is good. Really especially regret that did not report to the police. I do not know if it is not too late. I just got married, often have nightmares. My husband is very concerned about me. I told him about being violated. The result is that he is particularly hurt. Think I owe him. The important thing is that later, even I felt unclean. All these years, I was inferior to him in front of him and have been trying my best to make it up to him. I admire you for having the courage to speak up and am really grateful to you for making me realize that I wasn't the one in the wrong. You see, there are so many people who endure slut-shaming. Many of them are not able to support their bravery in their living environment, so they can only be silent and swallow their pain and confusion together. I understand their silence. But to break the situation, some people have to stand up first. I don't regret making this decision. The day after the live broadcast ended, the surveillance of Luna and I at the coffee shop was duly released. Oh my God. So Emily Lynn was kidnapped because of these two dogs. Luna is so shameless. Even if she doesn't feel guilty, she still has the nerve to steal the wedding. Ethan Grant is also a bitch. I used to be so high on his lovey-dovey persona. I've been following Luna for a few years now. I've been high for so long. But I've always felt that Emily Lynn is green teeth. The clown is even me. What to do? I'm so angry. I can't even sue even if it's indirectly caused by this. It's so shameless. Don't come out and apologize. Luna's account has been completely overrun, and no matter how many pages are turned, she is always being scolded. But she can't see it anymore, because she has been detained. On the day of the wedding, Luna snatched my ring away from a bemused flower girl after she said, "You don't deserve to wear this ring." And oh, when they're cared about such a small thing compared to her stone-cold words, according to the later recovered surveillance. Luna threw it down in her hand as she left. The diamond ring traced a glittering parabola. She probably thought it was a very dashing and beautiful move like in idol dramas. It was just a ring, just a small prop in her sensational love. That ring was worth $3 million. Take away the romantic trappings of robbing for love and being brave for once. This behavior is called robbing public or private property in a huge amount. When Ethan Grant and I identified her at the police station, Luna still looked incredulous. Why? You never cared how much money I spent before. It's just a ring, and you want me to go to jail. She was right. Ethan Grant would have hidden her away again if things hadn't come to a head. It's just a ring. It's nothing to Ethan Grant. But she'd forgotten one sad thing. The choice to decide her fate wasn't hers to make. Now that Ethan Grant can no longer coerce me with public opinion, she can only rush to show me her true feelings. Chio, don't listen to her. Money is the last thing that matters, and the fact that I've been generous to everyone in the fleet means nothing. Luna froze and looked at Ethan Grant as if she didn't recognize him anymore, and suddenly turned her spear towards me with a stern accusation. It was you. You made him do it, didn't you? You manipulative witch, pretending to be so innocent, but you're so vicious. I sighed softly. I am the only one who can identify you. Ethan Grant is here of his own free will. Luna still didn't understand. What she thought of as love was Ethan Grant giving her money to buy pretty clothes and taking her to play and see the world as she had never seen it before. But to a rich man, that was nothing more than a casual affair. As long as it provided a little emotional value, it's no different than playing a game or a card game. Luna, on the other hand, had put her whole body and soul on the line for this. What they were giving was simply not equal. Luna still couldn't accept the disillusionment of the perfect Ethan Grant in her mind and kept mumbling and shaking her head. Impossible, impossible. He and I are only the same kind of people. How can he really like you? It must be you, it's you. I felt a little funny that as a woman, you're slut-shaming me and calling people what a beat. But you're forgiving of Ethan Grant. He's the one who failed you, and you don't even dare to blame him. You just dare to point the finger at me. Luna, aren't you using your bravery in the wrong way? After a long time, Luna slowly raised her head and stared at me as if she was waking up from a dream. Emily Lynn, I was wrong about you. You're great. She lowered her voice to a whisper. You're so good. You must not be dealing with just me, are you? I read the hatred and anticipation in Luna's burning gaze, leaned over and replied softly. Don't worry, I won't let him go either. Luna nodded and suddenly smiled. Yeah, I'm waiting to see that. Luna and those who started the yellow rumor got what they deserved. But after all, the person I couldn't forgive the most was Ethan Grant. Ethan Grant still wants to try his best to salvage our engagement. He withdrew from the projects that the Lin and Goof families had been working on without compensation, giving up his share of the profits, and forfeiting the large amount of money and technology they had invested in the early stages of the project. For a while, the other shareholders of the Goof family were shocked and angry, and Mr. Grant Sr. was furious and went to the hospital. When Ethan Grant told me about this, his tone was very affectionate. Chio, I'm withdrawing from all the projects at no cost. I'll give you whatever you want. How could he be so self-righteous, even if he didn't quit? Gus stock was already on the verge of falling. I and the fiasco that started at this wedding, Ethan Grant and I both got a small hit, bringing a lot of heat to the two businesses as well. Some people have picked apart how Ethan Grant and I handled ourselves during this incident. They found that even during the days when the public opinion was at its peak, the project I was in charge of was still going on in an orderly fashion. Even on the day the wedding was interrupted, I signed a few papers and approved a grant, and Ethan Grant simply didn't care. Either venting his anger in a drunken car race or begging for forgiveness with red eyes in front of my house. Many people believe that the man in charge of Goo is so emotional that he is simply a child who hasn't grown up. So how can he put investors at ease? What's more, after that live broadcast of mine, Lin's corporate image immediately improved a lot and the stock price soared, whether it's the stockholders or the partners. They all clearly favored Lin's. I didn't need him to give way to me at all. However, I still shallowly thanked him and didn't refuse this kind offer from Ethan Grant. Gus was sort of covered with a few layers of dirt by him after I kicked him into a pit. I am not Ethan Grant. I don't gamble. I don't refuse this. Double guarantee. The last time I met Ethan Grant was when Goo was on the verge of bankruptcy. The company that had been in the Goo family for 3 generations was crumbling in his hands, and the livelihood of thousands of Gus employees depended on him. The building was on the verge of collapse, but he still had the heart to come to me. When he stood in front of my house, he looked tired. Chio, I've given you everything. Just please forgive me this time, okay? I just had some boxes brought to him. They were all the gifts Ethan Grant had given me since I was a kid. I was wondering whether to throw them away or give them back to you, but since you have the time to come here, it saves me the trouble. Take them yourself. Ethan Grant refused to take the boxes. Don't be like this, okay? I've loved you for more than 10 years, and I've only made this one mistake. Can't you forgive me? I looked at him indifferently, not moving a bit. Ethan Grant, stop saying you love me. You're making yourself believe it. You don't love me. You just want to be a hero. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a hero, but the right way to do it is to be strong. Strong enough to protect anyone, not like you, looking for someone who looks weak enough to be by your side and letting her be a foil for you. It's me who really needs to reflect. My words were sharp, and I didn't give him the slightest bit of decency. The biggest mistake of my life was that I chose you, knowing you were reckless, and paid a huge price for it. Thinking of the stage that was permanently closed, I was able to make peace with myself. I can forgive myself for my youthful ignorance, now that it's over, but there's no reason why I can't reverse your bad decision. Instead of getting all lovey-dovey, Mr. Koo should worry more about how he's going to live his life and pay off his debts after bankruptcy. Ethan Grant looked at me incredulously. As if he knew me for the first time, he couldn't stop trembling as he was being lynched. By my words, he left in a state of disarray, staggering on his feet, not daring to look me in the eye again. The gifts were still not taken. When I had them thrown out, something fell out and shattered. All kinds of crystal balls with ballerina girls with dreamy expressions, and roses with everlasting flowers in glass shades that didn't get dusty. It's all delicate, beautiful, and fragile at the same time, just like Ethan Grant saw me. But he was wrong. I was never a princess in a crystal ball, a rose in a glass case. That blow broke my leg, my dream of dancing, and my 10 years of hard work, but my life is not over yet. Years of perseverance and hard work have honed not only my dance, but also my heart. I am used to perseverance, to overcoming difficulties, and to taking life seriously. Dance is the first journey of my life. In the future, I will have countless new journeys, and my life is more than that.